The Gladiolus genus is comprised of corms with sword-shaped flowers. Corms and bulbs are sort of similar to the non-botanist. Are gladiolus bulbs? Spoiler, they are not. Gladiolus are seasonal plants that emerge with their sword-like leaves, and then flower, produce seeds, and wither away. The plants overwinter in their natural environment as underground corms and are generally adapted to winter rainfall regions. Meaning they will emerge from the ground after the first winter rains, flower in midwinter, and survive the hot dry summer as underground corms. When you place them in the soil and expose them to water and warmth, they will emerge and typically flower in 2 to 3 months from that point. Can you plant gladiolus in the fall? Gladiolus in the wild tends to come up in winter and flower in the middle of winter. In Zone 7, this is most likely not going to have a positive outcome. They will tend to be going into flower at roughly the same point that they get covered in snow. Try and aim to plant the corms 2.5 months before fall, and you will get a nice flush of flowers just as the winter comes. Should I soak gladiolus bulbs before planting? You can soak them in rooibos tea, which mimics the humic substance-rich water that is common in their growing areas. Typically in nature, the winter rains wash all the brown substances out of the acidic plant leaves, and this soaks into the bulbs as they start to swell and grow. When to plant gladiolus? The young shoots are quite tender, so plant them so that they emerge after the last risks of frost. You can start the corms in biodegradable pots on a windowsill or in a greenhouse. This can get them to the point where they just pop through the ground, and then you can put the whole plant and pot in the ground later in spring. Gladiolus loves mulch. It helps keep the soil warm and makes the plants healthy later in the season as these thrive in a compost-rich environment. Gladiolus takes about 60 to 90 days to bloom based on the varieties you choose. To enjoy continuous flowering, plant gladiolus corms every few weeks. Gladiolus protection during winter. Gladiolus corm can overwinter in zones 7 and above. Dig them up, dry them out, and then store them in onion bags. Onion bags tend to be ventilated to allow the onions, which are bulbs, to store without rotting. The same applies to the gladiolus corms. Which are the best gladiolus bulbs? Hunting song. This is a gigantic, bright red gladiolus, and it is very tough in zones 7 and above. Lifting the bulbs also stops them from getting overgrown in a clump. However, people just leave them in the ground and let them do their own thing. These tend to multiply quite a bit, so if you buy a bag of corms, the little cormlets need to be spaced out each year to get maximum flower yield. A mixed bag. The nice thing with a mixed bag of gladiolus is that you will find some colors do better in your garden than others. Storage. Gladiolus stalks turn brown and fall onto the ground. At this point, the plant has invested all of the energy in the stem into its corm. The corm is now strong and ready to be stored. Take the corm and lift it from the ground, dust the soil and compost off it and place it in an onion bag. Gladiolus care. Plant them in compost-rich, well-draining soil. Possibly in a pot if you are in an area with mole rats and other creatures that live in the ground that eat plant roots. Plant them as per your planting schedule to ensure you get a steady supply of flowers. The first few years will be a mess of flowers all in one big bunch. Gradually you will figure out how to stretch your flower season out in your local microclimate. Many gladiolus can probably survive underground in most years in Zone 7. There is a risk, however, that they will emerge too soon in spring and get burnt by a late frost. If you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.